tonight. Right off the bat, you'll have to excuse my voice. I have terrible allergies, so bear with me. This week, though, we've been focusing on guard passing. Last class, like we talked about, we were focusing on the leg drag. And again, we were talking about our main concept for guard passing, which sees us accessing our opponent's legs as levers to point their guard away from us so that we can ideally get in between their knees and elbows and then box in their hips. We're going to continue to work that leg drag tonight. However, we're going to add in some context behind the leg drag. So let's do a quick recap of what we did last class. We looked at the leg drag itself, and then we also talked about how to engage the guard when our opponent's in a seated guard. We talked about how if my partner's in a seated guard, I never allow this to stay like this, right? I'm always forcing them onto their back. We had a lot of different ways that we could do it. We could go ankles, shoulders, or a variation of either one of those. But again, my goal is to always put him on his back. The second I start putting him on his back, that's my window of opportunity to start passing. So let's say I'm using that leg drag like we learned. So as I start to put him on his back, that's when I start attacking my guard pass. For the leg drag, this is a great example of our primary passing concept. I'm turning his guard away from me using that pant grip. As I drop my shoulder in between his knees and elbows, this is the leading edge of my body. So this is the thing that's trying to pierce in between the knees and elbows. And as soon as I get into this position, I'm consolidating this with my hips sliding in and my left hand grabbing the bottom collar. My head is nice and close, just so that I don't give him a lever that he can start to push and get some distance. What we're going to do tonight, though, is we're going to add, again, sort of like a little preamble to that leg drag. And we're going to look at a situation that is quite unique in Jiu-Jitsu, and that is the closed guard. Now, the closed guard, funny, it's a very interesting situation because a lot of times when you learn Jiu-Jitsu, the closed guard is one of the very first things you get taught. And there's nothing explicitly wrong with that, but the closed guard is actually a very difficult position to be good at, and it's also a very good position to stall and do nothing with because it's a very safe position. A closed guard is this. If Coach Seth is on his back, he's going to grab me and pull me into his legs and then wrap his legs around my back. He has closed his guard around my body. This is what we consider a clamp guard because his legs are clamped together. There's not very many type of guards that involve a clamp. That's why this is such a strong position. Because his legs are clamped around me, he really doesn't have to do a whole lot in order to control me. And that's a double-edged sword, because while he doesn't have to do a whole lot to control me, it's actually pretty difficult to attack effectively from the closed guard. The problem with that is that if he's big and strong and wraps his legs around me and I don't know what to do, this can kind of just be the end of the situation, and I don't know how to get out, he doesn't know what to do, and then we just end up doing this type of stuff of nothing happening. So that's why we're big advocates of using open guards, which force movement and allow you to actually do more stuff as opposed to getting stuck in this situation. Our rule of thumb when it comes to the closed guard as a passer is you avoid the closed guard like the plague. I will never intentionally go into somebody's closed guard because, again, it's like quicksand. I'm going to slowly just start sinking down and getting more and more tired and allowing them to start to attack. However, it's inevitable that we're going to end up here. So we want to have some sort of solution to allow us to escape from this position. So we're going to look at a very basic guard break today. This is going to be a standing guard break, and we'll explain what that means here in a second. So I'm going to demonstrate this guard break, and then we'll take a look at how it works. Here we go. So now I've broken his guard, and as you can see, I've kind of gone back to where we started. This is where I want to be when I'm passing the guard. On my feet, an arm's length away, so I can start to pass and get on top. But how do we do this guard break? Like I mentioned before, breaking out of the closed guard, it's an uphill battle. We consider this a dominant position because, you may not notice it yet, but the closed guard is just the mount, but you're upside down. See? So he's essentially mounted on me, just upside down. So again, another reason to avoid this position like the plague as a passer. So in order to escape from this position, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. Some of the most common ways that white belts get taught are, quite frankly, not good, right? Because they involve using a lot of strength and sort of assuming that your partner is just gonna not do anything. We cannot assume that, okay? My opponent, I am assuming, has a super strong closed guard. They've got a killer game from that position, and they're gonna be constantly attacking me. So we're going to look to stand up to break their guard. Standing up is the most efficient way to break out of a closed guard because we have gravity on our side, and we can create much more dynamic and ballistic style movements. So to start this closed guard break, I'm gonna look to get inside position on his biceps. So I want both of my hands in between his arms with my hands hooking right on top of his biceps here. I'm now going to start to push his arms up to try to get his elbows around perpendicular with the body. The reason I'm doing this is to make it harder for him to grab me, but also so that I have a point on the floor that I can shift my weight over to allow me to stand up easily. Now on that note, I'm gonna start to shift my weight forward and get up onto my active toes. If you notice, my toes are dead in the beginning. This keeps a lower center of gravity. It makes me harder to get toppled. But when it's time to move, I need to get up on active toes because now I have the ability to push off the ground. So I'm gonna start to do one of two ways to stand up. You can either do like the spry sort of like gymnastic variation where you literally just jump up onto your feet, or you take your time and you're going to walk your way up. Figure out which option works best for you. In order to walk my way up, all I'm gonna do is first walk my knees back a little bit, and I'm going to assume almost like a push-up position. Now I'm gonna start walking my feet towards him until I can stand my feet right next to his hips. You don't have to be flexible for this in case you're wondering. I cannot touch my toes. I do not have the ability to do that. I've never been able to touch my toes. So I don't have to be flexible. See, my knees are perfectly bent. So once I'm in this position, I now need to let go of his arms and stand up as straight and as tall as I can. When I stand up though, I want to lift with my back. I actually want to drive my hips forward. Now, notice, once I've stood up like this, a good guard player is going to keep a guard nice and tight because he knows the advantages of this clamp. Once I'm in this position though, gravity is pulling him down. It's going to be really easy to break the guard. To do that, my hands, which I have removed from his arms, are going to go right onto the top of his knees. I'm going to smack his knees and just start backing up. Key word at the end, backing up. If I smack his knees and stand here, he can still start to attack, either with a double ankle sweep or with a mermaid sweep like we looked at in the past. So let's look at this again. I'll stick in this side view position here. So hands on the arms. Notice my posture in the beginning. I'm not curling, I'm not bending my spine. Good posture, just like I'm kneeling down, okay? Just like I'm kneeling down waiting for something. So my hands are on his arms, push them up. Active toes, get up either by walking or just jumping up. Now, all in one fell swoop, you're going to stand and push. The reason I'm explicit about all in one fell swoop is because if I stand up and let go, he's going to grab your ankles and you're gonna get swept. We're gonna look at this situation next when someone grabs your ankles. But for right now, again, we're going to stand and break the guard. As soon as you break the guard, I'd like us to go ahead and grab the pant, leg drag, and get on top. Alrighty, guys? I'm gonna show this again from the rear so that you can see what my feet are doing. So he's got me in the closed guard. My hands go to his biceps, push them up a little bit. Active toes, start to get up. Now from here, I'm gonna let go of his arms and suddenly push my hips forward and drive backwards. Notice how I land in a good stance. Okay, I now can grab the pant, leg drag, get to the top. Okay, I'll show once more. We'll do from the front again. Okay, this time without talking. Here we go. So I'm always finishing with some sort of aggressive guard pass because, again, guard passing's tough. You gotta be aggressive, you gotta act first. Does anybody have any questions on this guard break? Alrighty, guys, take your time. You can go slow. They're not gonna sweep you or anything like that right now. I want you to get the movement down of stand up, blast your hips forward, push the knees, and walk back. All right, let's go. 1, 2. So this is looking really great so far, guys. I want to touch on a couple things about that particular guard break, and then we'll look at addressing the common problem of them grabbing your ankles. So first, I just wanted to kind of clarify what your mindset should be when you're doing this. You are trapped in a negative position. You're stuck in a bad spot. You need to escape from the closed guard. And as soon as you escape, you've got to immediately pass the guard. Okay? The reason I want you to really think about your mindset here is because I see some people who are doing a fine closed guard break, right? Everything looks great. And then they just kind of like just shut down once they get here. Okay, remember the battle isn't over. You got out of a bad spot, but now take advantage of what's just happened. I've broken through his offense, so now I start to attack and get on top. So what that would entail is as soon as I break the closed guard here, look, I hips up, I step back far, and I've already got this pant. I'm ready to drag and drop. If I keep my feet close to him, remember, he has very easy lever access. He can start to hook into my legs, and now he's controlling my base. So again, my legs go away while my hands stay on him. Now it's very easy for me to grab the pant leg and drag, either side, whatever side you want to leg drag on. Or both, right? I can go to this side. If it doesn't work, I can go to the other side. But I just want you to have that sort of mindset of you're not done until you've passed the guard. Your job isn't finished. You can't rest until you're on top of them and you're past the guard. Now let's talk about a very common issue, and that is when you're performing this particular guard break, they're gonna grab the ankles. I just wanna mention this guard break, guys, is inspired very heavily, and it was kind of made popular by Marcelo Garcia. So if you're not familiar with who Marcelo Garcia is, I encourage you to do some homework. He's one of the most world-renowned grapplers, super great guy. So he was, that's right, yeah. We have a brown belt who actually trained with Marcelo. But he was very well known for using this particular guard break. And again, you can see how it's so, again, ballistic and dynamic, and you're just standing up and blasting out of there. It's not a sort of slow, sluggish race of like just entropy and who's gonna give up first and I'm gonna slowly wear their guard out. I am blasting out of their guard. Again though, the issue comes when they grab the ankles. So let's look first at why that's a problem. Let's say I get to here and I stand up. If he's grabbing my ankles, he now has what we call lever control. He's controlling levers, which again are force multipliers. They create movement. So from this position, he has double ankle grips. So he can do what we call a double ankle sweep. He can do that in a lot of different ways. All right, go ahead and do a double ankle sweep. Okay. And he makes you fall down. So there's the problem. What's the solution? The solution is, if they're grabbing the ankles, get your ankle out. We only need to free one. I don't need to magically make both my feet jump away. I only need to pull one foot out. So how are we gonna do that? I'm gonna perform the initial stand up. I'm gonna get to here. Now I've noticed he's grabbing my ankles. Choose your side, it doesn't matter. I'll choose my left leg. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my left foot and I'm gonna draw a circle backwards with that foot. And I successfully kick out of his grip here. Now, he still has my other foot. Not a big deal. So long as I have this leg at the forefront of my mind so that he cannot do a hook sweep on me, boom, I'm gonna be A-okay. Again, I can just start to leg drag and get on top. So the actual motion is, again, kind of a kick, like a circle and kick. If anyone in here did like a traditional martial art when they're younger, you maybe did like Taekwondo or something, there's a thing called like an axe kick, right? This is kind of what we're doing. We're like kicking our leg up and over. All right, so I'll show it from this perspective now. So I'm gonna start to stand up. He's got one of my ankles. I'm gonna kick one of them out. So I lean my weight into one side, and now I go forward first. Notice the sort of orientation of his hand. He's grabbing my ankle with his hand behind my foot. If I just try to kick straight back, he's gonna hold it. So I go forward and then backwards. Okay? And again, I'm just always mindful of this foot. I don't want it to hook my leg. So I'm always keeping this foot at bay. He's grabbing my other ankle, not the end of the world. All we're gonna do, leg drag, get right back down on top. I'll show once more from the rear. So he's got me wrapped up. I get up, uh-oh, he's got my ankles, no worries. Kick out, leg drag, and get on top. You may notice that when I do my leg drag, because we're in a slightly different sort of position, we're close range, when I do my leg drag, I bump my hip forward, which puts his foot off of my hip. It's hard to leg drag if his foot's connected to me. So I bump forward, see how his heel comes off. Now I again leg drag and drop down. I'll show once more from this position without talking. Again, you're not done until you pass. So you gotta be aggressive. Pass, pass, pass. Get on top, then you can rest. Does anyone need to see this again? Really simple, guys. Go slow. So from the bottom person, when your partner goes to stand up, try to keep your guard closed as best as you can. I know it's hard. That's an actual skill that you need to practice of keeping the guard closed. But when they go to stand up, just grab their ankles. You're not being aggressive right now. Just hold their ankles for them. They'll kick out and then break. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jake. Yes.
Does that actually only work if they're doing the hook grip? Like if they have a thumb wrap, does that not work?
Yeah, no, for sure. With the thumb grab, so if he grabs like a C grip, this is actually way better for me. I don't even need to do half as much work, right? So yeah, that's a great point. If he grabs with what we call a C grip, which is not the way that we like to show people how to grab ankles, because there's a giant gap between his index and his thumb. So all I'm gonna do is just kick my heel back really hard. That's a great point though, Jake. Okay, so guys, remember we're using a hook grip to grab it. So he's hooking my heel. So that means I cannot just kick straight back. There's a wall there, so I go forward and then back. If he grabs the pants, this is totally different. Pant grips are a different beast altogether. We can talk about pant grips. If we have time, we can talk about them today. But again, this is different, guys. Don't grab onto your partner's pants for right now. Just hook the back of their heel, circle out, and leg drag. Great question. Any other questions, guys? Yes, sir? For sure, yeah. So you're talking about how to stop them from using a hook. So I kick my foot out. Most good guard players are gonna, again, systemize their attacks, right? So they're gonna build upon the attacks that they're doing. So he's lost the double ankle sweep. So in our own sweeping system, we teach this. We teach if you lose the double ankle sweep, you go right to the hook sweep. So to answer your question, LJ, as soon as I step out, look how I'm controlling his foot. I can also grab the pants, that's fine, but all I need to do is just hold onto his foot so I don't let him put the hook in. And then I bump and drag and get on top, right? If he puts the hook in, LJ, if he puts the hook in like this, I can hold it and step my foot over it, or we can shin circle out, for those of you who might be familiar with those movements. But again, if the hook's in, it's not the end of the world. Just hold it and step your leg back over. But as always, try to be proactive, right? Don't let him put the hook in if you can help it. Great questions, guys. All right, let's get to work. 1, 2.